Hey PCWorld fans, Adam here with friend of the show, Brad Shoemaker from Nextlander fame. Go over to nextlander.com for awesome video game coverage. Thanks for joining me, Brad.
Absolutely.
We're here to talk about video games on the PC, and specifically 40 FPS. Is that the future? Should PC gamers be concerned about 40 FPS? I believe yes. I think you believe yes as well, but I think we're coming at this from different angles. You talked about this recently on the Nextlander podcast, and also Will and Brad made a Tech Pod. So tell me your reasoning why you enjoy 40.
It's funny, I hadn't even thought about its relevance to PC gaming until we sat down here, but I think it absolutely has it. But on the console side, now that we have screens that can handle 40 hertz cleanly without getting... Go listen to that podcast to hear a little more technical information about why it works. But the perception of smoothness from 30 to 40 is so much higher, much more than it sounds like it would be. But presumably, like, the compute requirements are not that much higher because a lot of games are starting to ship on consoles now, where you get a 40 FPS mode that basically has the quality of the 30 FPS mode but smoother, and it's kind of it's not 60, but it feels so much better to play. You know, the frame time is so much shorter, responsiveness feels so much better. It's probably the closest to the best of both worlds you're going to get there.
That's what I was the term I was gonna use. Yeah, so you're getting the bells and whistles.
Yes.
Or I'm sorry, you know, pushing high resolution, pushing extra features like ray tracing, you know, things like that, but also you know, not sacrificing too much performance. I will say though, I think a lot of people are gonna jump in here in the comments and be like, 40 hertz on a PC? Are you kidding me? You know, we have this joke around here about a smooth 30. You know, but I would also say that's maybe a lack of a better term, generational thing, because I mean 30 hertz back in the day, when we're talking, you know, 20 years ago, like that PC gaming was that, right?
Yes.
Now you got the high refresh rate gaming and all that kind of stuff. So I think a lot of people would like are gonna scoff at like even the idea of anything below 60. I mean, I know some people are like, I only play on like 120 or above.
Well,
right?
It's very conditional. I've always maintained it's very genre dependent. So there are certain types of games that should never be below 60. Like fighting games, driving games, like fast Twitch competitive shooters. Probably others I'm not thinking about. Like some stuff should always be smooth for playability reasons, but like I feel like the elephant in the room here is Alan Wake 2. Like the somewhat slower paced cinematic action game, totally fine at a 40, even on PC. That might sound heretical, but I think ray tracing and path tracing in particular are getting us back into this territory on the PC where, like, you know, Alan Wake 2 at native 4K on a 4090 with all the path tracing on barely does 30 FPS, you know?
Without DLSS.
Without DLSS,
like
obviously, with, you know, that's an extreme edge case, but the point is we're back in territory where even the fastest hardware on the planet cannot push 120, 144.
Which is exciting, at least like,
to me, absolutely. You know, it feels like after, like, on the software side, there was a period of stagnation. I mean, it was great for older GPUs. They got a lot more life out of them, but we're back in a spot now where you're going to have to make some compromise or other, and like this is a compromise to consider, I think, because 40, having played through all of Spider-Man 2 on the PS5 at 40, and I am something of a frame rate snob, extremely playable. Very playable.
I mean, but I would call that pretty fast action, though. I mean, between the swinging around, I mean, sure, whatever, it is fast movement, but then the combat itself can be fast, and you're making split decisions. So you didn't feel like that was a downside at all?
No. I mean, the combat is fairly timing. There's some parries. It's fairly timing based. It's not super demanding. Pretty generous parry windows and stuff like that, but still, like, felt absolutely fine to me.
Well, where I'm coming at from this is from the other end, and that's handheld game devices.
Yeah.
So, like, I never thought too much about 40 hertz until the Steam Deck put in that built-in 40 hertz limiter. And it was like, oh, wow, okay, so yeah, 30 sometimes, depending on the game, depending on the scenario, like 30 can be playable. I'm not a snob at 30 at all. You know, I mean, what is it, the new, not Breath of the Wild,
Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of the Kingdom plays sub 30 on my Switch, and I'm still playing it. Still an amazing game. But yeah, on a handheld device, like, I feel like 60 sometimes is pushing it too much, and 30 sometimes is a little too low. But like having now that sweet spot of 40 to aim for handheld gaming at least is like, oh, okay, well this is awesome. And you know what? It can translate to bigger machines as well, because once again, turning on all the bells and whistles, like I'm in Alan Wake 2, I'm like, okay, as long as I can hit 40 consistent, I'm fine on that game specifically.
Sure.
And I mean, there's plenty of other games like that I think I would be fine. And especially like in my scenario, like I've got a small form factor rig too, so I'm like, okay, I don't try to push the hardware as hard as it can. Like, you know, I'm trying to keep some of the sound down and some of the thermals down anyway. So like I feel like a lot more options. Once again, that's why we love the PC is options. Mm-hmm. I feel like 40 is a new option that a lot of people should consider for PC gaming, especially if they're trying to push the latest and greatest, but then also concerned about like performance of what they can actually get. The thing is though, for Alan Wake, it doesn't have a 40 hertz cap in the game itself.
True.
So do you think developers should start implementing this 40 hertz option in the menus?
That is where it gets stickier, because consoles, you know, being a fixed target, developers can just develop against that, and it's just there for you. You know, you do have options. You can set those types of limits in like driver control panels in NVIDIA and so forth.
Well, and that's what's happening on the Steam Deck too.
Yes.
Like this isn't, you know, like they're not making a special Steam Deck version of the game. Like the Steam overlay is enforcing that.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's also not as easy on the Steam Deck. It's literally just hit a button, slide over a little thing, and boom, you're activated. It's not as easy on the desktop.
It might be nice to see it built into more games, like kind of right front and center, so you don't really have to think about going outside of the game and setting something that you might forget to change later.
Yeah.
You know, it also raises the question of should you cap it at all? You know, because you might say like, oh, I think you actually mentioned a case where you were getting between like 40 and 80 in a game.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people might prefer that. I tend to think a steady 40 is better than like 40 to 60 up and down. So that is a personal preference thing, but
that is a good question. Yeah. You know what? I should try that. Because like that's the thing. I feel like, okay, well, if I have that overhead and I can push it, I would. But yeah, maybe a 40 hertz cap would be interesting.
Yeah, I wonder if there's some onus on GPU makers to try to build this in a little more directly. You know, like try to have you know, frame rates sync with display refresh a little more cleanly and stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It'd be a good question to ask GPU makers, you know, the limitations on that. And also maybe if you know of a piece of software that actually does enable a 40 hertz mode kind of as simple as the Steam Deck, please let us know in the comments. I feel like maybe there's something out there that we just don't know, that it's like, oh, actually, you know, if you just do this really quick, you can enable 40 hertz mode. Or, I mean, the other option is, I don't know if I would trust this, but like on TVs, like to do it at the TV level, could you, you know, would you trust your TV to be like, hey, you know what, I'm going to engage 40 hertz mode on the TV itself?
Maybe it depends on the TV.
Yeah, depends on the manufacturer. But
yes.
Anyway, I think it's something we as PC gamers should not look down on just because it's less than 60 hertz or less than 120 hertz. Like I think there is definitely a use case for 40 hertz. Especially around this whole chatter around, you know, like, oh man, we're really pushing the bleeding edge. It sucks I can't do 120 at 4K in Alan Wake and full path tracing. It's like, okay, we're not there yet. One day we'll probably get there. But for now, 40 hertz, I actually think is the sweet spot. And especially if, you know, you're really anti-30. In some cases, I'm okay with 30. But if you're really anti-30, try 40. It is definitely different.
It's the proof really is in the pudding. It's something that you wouldn't expect until you put your hands on it. It absolutely feels dramatically better.
So try it. Let us know. Pause the video or finish the video. Try it. Then come back. Put a comment in. I want to hear your thoughts, because, you know, I think it really is specific to the person and the game and all that stuff. So. Yeah, and especially if there is some sort of easy way to turn it on and off, the way you can do it on the Steam Deck, I would love to know it. So anyway, thank you, Brad, for this thought exercise and talking about 40 hertz. Thank you for watching. Go over to nextlander.com subscribe, pay them money, just make it rain to Nextlander. And thank you for watching. Subscribe here on PC World for more PC hardware and software goodness. We will catch you in the next video.